cloud. There we go. Awesome. So I was saying, Ashley, when we got started, this is element 19 in your Habits of Health book. I'm actually going to talk a lot tonight from the companion book, The Habits of Health. Well, the other one's the Life book. They work together, but don't worry about if you're not following exactly along. This is just going to complement everything that you hit in the Life book. So basically, sleep is your body's way of restoring organ function, stabilizing chemical imbalance, refreshing areas of the brain that control mood and behavior. I love that. And improving performance. So it's amazing. I like to tell this story and share this story. Before I started this journey, back when my children were really little, I can remember bringing my firstborn home from the hospital. And, I'd never had a baby before, and he wasn't sleeping through the night. And I was exhausted. Like, I was beyond exhausted. I was definitely not getting anywhere near 8 hours of sleep a night. So I can remember one day going to the grocery store and driving in the car and thinking, I feel like I'm drunk. Have you guys ever been so tired that you felt like you were actually drunk? That is what it can do. It can disrupt your brain function to the point that it actually equals 2 to 4 glasses of wine, depending on how little sleep you've had. And sleep deprivation is actually a form of torture. So it really is something the body needs to survive and to be healthy. I want to talk a little bit of just about stages of the sleep cycle so you can kind of understand what happens in that magical 8 hours that we're aiming for. The span is really anywhere from 7.5 to 9 is optimal. I can't even imagine living a life that I got 9 hours of sleep, but maybe that'll happen someday. But 8 hours is a magical thing. It's usually 7.5 for me. I'm still working on that. So in the Habits of Health book on page 399, you'll see that there are basically 4 stages of sleep, and then you hit REM sleep. So you've got stage 1, which is a light sleep. Stage 2, your brain waves are slowing down. You start to really rest all the parts of your body that you use when you're awake. Your body temperature drops. This is an important little thing to note. If you have trouble falling asleep at night, one of the things that can be part of your getting ready routine is to take a hot shower, and you don't have to like bathe and wash your hair and do all that. If you just want to get in the hot shower for just like 3 minutes, when you get out, it will drop your body temperature. That drop in body temperature signals the body it's ready for sleep. So that's why a lot of people, and my mom probably did this for me as a child because I was a night owl, gave me a hot bath at night before bed because it really does help drop that body temperature, get you ready for sleep. Stage 3 is a deeper sleep. It's a restorative sleep. The delta waves, they disperse with smaller, faster waves. Stage 4, this is where that really recuperative, restful sleep comes in. It restores and recharges the body. Stage 4, you really want to get to this. The delta waves, it's almost exclusively delta waves. Stage 4 is essential to the sleep process. And then when you get to the next stage, which is the REM stage, this is the deepest sleep. So this is where you dream. I have an older brother who has or had horrible sleep apnea. And he spent his whole life, because they didn't really know, I guess, much about it. And he was born in the 60s. When he was young, he spent a lot of his life, he never dreamt. My older brother never hit REM sleep for like the majority of his childhood. So when they finally figured out that's what he had, and they got him a CPAP and all of that good stuff, he started healing in amazing ways. So it is incredible what happens when you hit that REM sleep. It really does change the way that you function, the way you take on life. More energy, better mood, better focus. Our energy level is really what is managed with good sleep. So if you're someone who feels overwhelmed, exhausted, tired all the time, also, fun fact, the signal from the brain for tired is also the signal for hungry. So how many of you guys are a late night snacker, or you get the munchies late at night and you're like, oh, I just want to eat something? Yeah, right. So me too. It's because my brain was like, girl, go to bed, like get to bed already. It was, it's really that I was tired. Your body, back 10,000 years ago when we were running around in loincloths, if you got tired, it wanted you to eat something to have more energy because you had to outrun whatever's trying to kill you as you ran around in your loincloth. Nowadays, we don't really have that. So when we get to be tired, we don't really want to eat. In fact, you don't want to eat. I think I told Ashley, I think I told you an hour and a half before bedtime, but optimum is to try not to eat 3 hours before bedtime, just to give all that nutrition, let it work through, let your metabolism start to settle down before bedtime. Here's really interesting. So some of you guys know who've been doing this book club with me a long time, is that my journey with Optavia was as much to lose weight as it was to kind of get control over my anxiety and depression. It's all linked together. And so the level of depression in those that have sleep issues is 5 times greater than those who are healthy sleepers. So if anxiety and depression is something that you feel like you dance with, really fine-tuning your healthy sleep habit is going to do nothing but help you with that. So that's why this, I love this particular habit so much, and it's one that I'm always working on because it's so important to my mental health. Also, when we don't get enough sleep, we have a lack of focus, diminished creative capacities. We have a reduced motivation to learn. So that's why sleep is so important in children. Especially teenagers. That's why they want to sleep till like 1 p.m. because they stay up too late. And you're less able to manage competing demands. So it just takes a toll on your mind, and your mind really needs that restorative sleep. One more set of facts just to show you how important sleep is. Y'all like, Allison, we get it. It's important. But listen to this. A chronic lack of sleep, so not getting between the 7 and 9 hours, can cause weight gain, impact our learning and memory, compromise your immune system. You actually will get sick more often if you're not getting enough sleep. It'll elevate your blood pressure, increase inflammation in the body. It'll shorten your lifespan, create symptoms of ADHD, and contribute to mental and emotional health issues. That was me. So let's talk about what we can do. There's a thing called bright line curfews. Okay. So think about the fact that if you want to get restorative sleep at night, and maybe you say, Allison, one of the hardest things I have is actually getting my body in the state to fall asleep. I'm a night owl. My friend Ashley's a night owl. So, so for us, all that means is we just shift it. So, if you're a night owl, if you take longer, it just takes longer for your body to settle. If you went to bed at 10, you would get up at 6. If you went to bed at 11, you would get up at 7. If you go to bed at midnight, you would get up at 8. So that's how you just want to keep those 8 hours in there. You can adjust it depending, on if you're a lark, which is a morning person, or night owl. Interesting fact, if you're a night owl, your body doesn't warm back up to, the body temperature doesn't warm back up to get you out of sleep until about 6 a.m. A lark, a morning person, their body starts to warm back up at 4 a.m. So when they hop out of the bed at 6, they're perky and ready to go. When a night owl hops out of the bed at 6 a.m., they're sluggish. So that's why. It's actually biological. We're just wired a little bit differently. So don't beat yourself up. Figure out if you're a lark or a night owl, and then start to try and adjust your sleep to compensate for that. So here are some bright line curfews. Curfews meaning these are things you want to stop before going to bed to help you get better sleep. So you want to stop coffee 8 hours before bedtime. Caffeinated coffee, you want to stop 8 hours before bedtime. 5 hours before bedtime, you want to stop all caffeine. 4 hours before bedtime, you want to stop exercise. 3 hours before bedtime, alcohol or heavy meals. Well, if we're on the 5-in-1, we're not eating alcohol or heavy meals, but moving forwards, into long-term health and wellness, that's something that you don't want to do close to bedtime. 2 hours, work and serious conversations. All right. Has anybody ever hopped into bed, looked over at their spouse and been like, you know what, I really want to talk about, and then you lay something on each other? Yeah, that's not a good idea if you're trying to get ready for bed. Try and have those conversations at least 2 hours before bedtime so you can process it and settle down. 1 hour before bedtime, we call digital sunset. So that means 1 hour before bedtime, no more of this, no more computer, no more TV. The light emitting diodes and all these devices stimulate the brain, and it takes an hour for them to come down off of that and get ready for sleep. And then, in bed, once you hop in the bed, you want the lights off. So I know my husband loves to read before he goes to bed, and he's such a voracious reader that we would have a house full of books if he read. So he got a Kindle, and he has a selection on the Kindle where it doesn't, the light or whatever that he reads it from doesn't activate those sensitivities in the brain. So if you have something like that, that would be okay. But you know, if you're trying to do it from your cell phone, you probably don't want to do that. You'd want to just read a regular book. You want to design a transition routine for bedtime. So, you know, something like, let's say you want to go to bed at 11 p.m. because you're a night owl. So that means at 10, you might start your transition routine. That might be when you go and you take that 3-minute, 4-minute hot shower. That might be when, you brush your teeth. You put on your clean pajamas. You pick out the book you're going to read. You put away your any kind of digital device, cut off the television, dim the lights, like, just start kind of getting in that mode for bedtime. One of the things that has really helped me, and I'm a very light sleeper, is I actually have a lotion that I put on at bedtime, and I only wear it at bedtime. I love the way it smells. It's a eucalyptus lotion, and it's kind of like I don't know, just a soft, pleasant scent. Sometimes people like lavender, that smell, helps with sleep. But I put that on my hands and a little bit on my neck at bedtime. And just smelling it, because I do that as part of my bedtime routine, my brain is like, oh, we're getting ready to go to bed. Makes a huge difference. So I keep a little bottle of it next to bed. The funny thing is, if I try and put that on any other time of day, I get sleepy and I want to take a nap. Like, that is how Pavlovian that lotion is. So if that, maybe it's something you spray on your pillow, whatever, but a scent or a smell that you associate with bedtime. Talking about a healthy sleep and energy clock. There's one in here in your life book, and it is on page, it's on page 387. It's on page 405 in the Habits of Health book. But it's just showing you've got those 8 hours of restful sleep. And then if you look here, it talks about you have your wake up time, which you would adjust depending on if you're a lark or a night owl. Then you have your model morning. So we just talked about the twilight hour bedtime routine. Then you have a model morning. So you have certain things you do that wake you up in the morning. So one of the things he says is right when we wake up, get out of the bed. Believe it or not, a habit of disease is hitting the snooze button. Let me see where he said, it was so interesting. I was like, what? It says, for those that use the snooze button, please note this is a habit of disease. This unhealthy habit may last over an hour. Research shows it does not count towards deep restorative sleep, and it sets up a negative precedent to start your day. If you want to break this bad habit, set your alarm clock the night before to go to the last possible time you can actually get up, and then just get up when it goes off. So that's a hard habit to break. That was one of the ones I had to break, but it really does. You don't, once you get awakened by that first snooze, you don't really sleep well. So you might as well just set it all the way to the end and then get out of that bed. That really helps you get up and start your day. He also talks about something really cool, that is having different kinds of rest during the day. So there's passive rest and there's active rest. I'm going to skip a little bit forward and talk about that because I think that is really important to talk about. So we have rest in energy ways. So, sleep is our deep restorative rest. But during the day, it's important for us to take little breaks. I don't know about you guys, but I was a napper. When I wasn't sleeping well, I definitely would grab naps during the day, especially when my kiddos were little. When they napped, I was like right there with them. And there's two kinds of naps. There's what's called a power nap, which is a quick nap. So for those of you who are my night shift nurses, for those of you who have a little baby in the house that keeps you up throughout the night, or for those of you that sleep with Jack Russell Terriers like I do, and they shift around, sometimes you need a power nap in the day. A power nap is anywhere from 6 to 20 minutes long. It's just quick, boop, get up, it's done. And believe it or not, it partially replenishes our neurotransmitters. So even though it might not feel like much, it really does a lot for here. Sometimes if you didn't get your 8 hours of sleep, you may need to take an REM nap where you actually get into REM sleep. That takes 90 minutes. So that's a big old hour and a half nap. So most of us don't have time for that, but on a weekend, if you've had a crazy week and you've gotten behind in your sleep, Being able to take one of those REM naps really helps a lot. Active rest, let's talk about that. Now, that's the rest that happens during the day. Active rest actually helps us get good restorative sleep later in the night. So here are some things you can do to actively rest during the day. Deep breathing and stretching. Mentally, if you meditate, have a gratitude moment, listen to some soothing music. Socially, spending time with friends, just catching up and laughing, that's wonderful restorative rest. Or spiritually, just having a quiet time to pray. And those things are things that you can incorporate into your day that also can help you really have better sleep in the evenings. Passive rest naps activate the sleep version of the rest activity cycle, which works differently than the walking or waking rest activity cycle. So if you are so fatigued that you need a nap and a nap is available to you, then by all means take the nap because it will serve you well. Just to wrap it up, because I don't want to take all of y'all's night, some things to do, as you go through this element, which is a wonderful element, you're going to look, it's going to ask you some questions. It's going to ask you some questions about your routines that you have now. Maybe you don't have one. If you don't, and you'd like to have a better evening routine and a better morning ritual, reach out to your coach and she or he can work with you to help you get into that ritual. It's amazing. I really thought it was a bunch of hooey. I'm a client too, as well as a coach, and I knew I needed this, and my coach would say something. I'm like, that doesn't sound like it would work, but y'all, it does. That's lotion trick, the hot shower trick, the cutting, getting away from this an hour before bedtime, all of that has made it so I really do get, and my dogs behave, good, beautiful, restorative sleep every single night. And it's a game changer because I wake up a happier person. I wake up ready to take on the day. I wake up with energy, all the things. And this too can be yours if you can develop a good sleep routine. One more thing I'm going to leave y'all with, and I'm going to open this up for some questions if anybody has any. We have this thing called circadian rhythms. If you really are having trouble with your sleep cycle at night, another thing that helps is if in the morning when you get up, if you can take your cup of coffee or a cup of hot tea or your Optavia shake or whatever it is you have first thing in the morning, and you can go out in the sunshine for 5 minutes, get sun on your skin, on your face for 5 minutes, that resets your internal clock to 15 hours later, start winding your body down to go to bed. It's amazing. It really does work. That's why, have you ever noticed if you go to the beach or you go and you play outside a lot, like when your children have a day where they're outside a lot and that sunshine and everything, they sleep so good. The fresh air, the sunshine, that also helps contribute to a healthy night of sleep. So I love this element so much. My clients know that I love this element so much because it was such a game changer for my journey. I think sometimes we focus so much on the fuelings and they are amazing and they do so much for us, but healthy sleep combined with that is just incredible. I will also say that if you're not getting good, healthy sleep at night, you can be doing your journey, your 5-in-1 journey perfectly. You can be having the nutrition just right. You can be drinking all the water, but maybe you won't see the scale move. We need those 8 hours, 7-8 hours a night to help the body process all that stuff through and to help us have the energy and to help the metabolism, all the stuff that's metabolized, get on out of the body and moving on out and process that in a healthy way. So if ever you get frustrated and you're like, I am doing everything perfectly, I'm writing all my feelings down. I know I'm getting all my water every day. I don't understand what's happening. Take a look at your sleep. It's huge because I'll tell you what else. Processing stress and emotional management are really important for that too, because we release cortisol if we're stressed out. Guess what? If we're tired and we don't get a good night's sleep, you know what happens? We're stressed out the whole next day. And then you know what happens? We release cortisol. You know what happens? Scale doesn't move. Boom. So it doesn't seem like it's all interconnected, but it's all interconnected. And that's why we talk about these healthy habits. So I'm going to stop recording and